Welcome back, Rackpack. Rackmdar here, bringing you another episode of Road to King of Games. Today we are back playing another new deck type. This is going to be Triamids. So for this episode, we're going to be playing one of the four main decks that I have come up with in order to help climb to King of Games. Now that we're kind of hitting this point where I've already been through the series a few times, we're going to start focusing a little bit more on the grind. I think I mentioned in the last episode that I do have a couple of deck lists that I want to cycle through. That way there's not a bunch of repetition in the series as we do hit that climb. But this is going to be one of the main decks. This is Triamids. Triamids are a pretty interesting deck, honestly. One of the few decks that really focuses on a lot of different field spells. So you do have Trymid, Fortress, King Golem, and Cruiser all having pretty cool effects that really just make this deck a lot of fun to play. This is going to be a control deck, so I might not play this as much once we hit a specific breakpoint, because for me personally, I like having the faster combo heavy decks. I will probably hit King of Games with Vendrids once I finish building it. That's just the fast-paced nature, a lot of combos, really throwing your opponent off, allows you to get quick and easy wins. Something like this, you're going to it'll probably stall out a few turns. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the deck list, and then we'll go into the ladder. So the Triamids are going to be using Balance. Balance is a skill. You have to run 6/6/6, meaning 6 monsters, 6 spells, and 6 trap cards. And then once you are playing that, your starting hand will reflect that balance. So since we do have that, we'll be guaranteed a field spell, guaranteed a trap, and then guaranteed a monster. And we'll have at least one of each, and then our 4th card will be something different. A couple of the builds for this actually runs like 22 card balance. Some of them run 3 copies of each field spell, which is definitely something you can do. This is one of those few decks that will be possible with a larger deck size. But I decided I wanted to play something like this instead. If it does turn out that we want the other deck size, we'll mess with the build a little bit as we climb. Part of climbing with a game like this is you pay attention to what you see a lot of, what your frequency is. So if you're seeing a lot more, I don't know, if you're seeing something that really requires you to have more copies of these other cards, then you want to, update your deck a little bit. Of course, you don't want to. Your deck's not going to be able to beat everything for the most part. Like you'll have a possible win against everything depending on how things play out. But for the most part, you're going to have a couple of counter matchups that are not going to work out in your favor. So similar in a tournament where you would side deck something for those counter matchups, sometimes it's good to run a couple of tech options. So for example, 1 copy of Paleo in order to deal with the Desperado Barrel Dragon is pretty nice, because you can flip face down one of the blast spiders and then you don't have to worry about its effect going off. So a couple of tech options like that are completely fine to run one-ofs, because if you draw your out to the counter deck, then you still win. But anyway, let's talk a little bit more about what Triamids do. Basically, they revolve around their field spells in a pretty interesting way. Most field spell decks, you just play the field spell and you're done. But these Triamids cycle through their field spells. So the big one, Trymid Cruiser, every time you summon a rock type, each time a rock type monster is normal summoned, which is all of them, they're all Triamids, you can draw 1 card, then discard 1 card. That's pretty nice, helps add a little consistency. And then you can add 1 if this face-up card in the field zone is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Triamid card from your deck to your hand. This is going to be one of the ways that we have a lot of consistency. Triamid King Golem, this one is very powerful. Whenever your monster declares an attack, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. This is all cards and effects. There's nothing that your opponent can do. And you can also use this to your advantage to chain together a bunch of effects. This is an Armades effect if you are familiar with the Synchro monster. And he will... and all of your monsters gain this effect, and you can do a lot of really cool things. King Golem is very powerful. I would probably, like I said, running 3 copies of each of the field spells is not a bad idea. But we're going to play with what we have. The main reason that you run a lot of copies of the field spell is because of Trymid Pulse. So we'll see. Maybe we'll find out in the ladder that it's better to run it like that. And then if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Trymid monster. You can special summon 1 Trymid monster from your hand. This is not as effective. Most of the stuff that you want from King Golem involves the first effect. He also gives a boost to your attack, so that's pretty nice as well. Most of your monsters are relatively weak, so you can get some cool stuff going. And then we have Triamid Fortress. All rock-type monsters gain 500 defense, so Fortress is defense, King Golem is offense, and you can kind of see that in the artwork, you know. Bunkering in with the Fortress, and then look at all that, the crazy mech going insane with a bunch of offensive weaponry right there. I really like the artwork for this archetype, pretty nice. Then Cruiser just kind of chilling. Anyway, whenever this field spell is on the field, all of your monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects, and that is very powerful. This is one of the ways that you try to, that you'll play around the Barrel Dragon, the Despacito Barrel Dragon, or Desperado, whatever it's called. Honestly, that deck's kind of crazy, and I do not look forward to going against it. And then you can add 1, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Trymid monster in your graveyard to your hand. You can only use each of these once per turn, so you can't cycle a bunch of searching. And because it says this effect of Trymid Fortress, you can't play another Fortress and then gain its effect. It's a hard once per turn. So if it said something like once per turn you can add it to your hand, you would be able to do the cycle. But these are hard once per turns. Don't get too offset by that. And then now we have our monsters. Our monsters are special because they are the ways that we'll be putting the field spells into our graveyard. Trymid Master is pretty much the one of the main monsters that we'll be running. Ideally, we would have 2 copies of him at least. 3 is optimal. You want 3 copies of him. I think most people run 3-2-2 or something of that nature. Unfortunately, I only pulled 1 from all of my searches. I was trying to get from the box. It's Guardians of Rock, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. All of these cards are in the Guardians of Rock mini box. So pretty simple, pretty easy to build. Ideally, you'd want 2. Cruiser is the big one. You'll definitely want 3 of them. I think you want 3 of all the field spells. Those are the big ones. The field spells, if you have them, you're pretty much going to be all right with this deck. But the Master is very important. Once per turn, you can send 1 face-up Trymid card you control to the graveyard. This is any Trymid card, another monster, or Trymid Pulse. We'll kind of get to that one later. And then you target 1 set card and destroy it. Pretty nice effect here. Exactly what I was saying. This is why we want Trymid Master, more copies of him. I'll probably try to get another copy later on if I have extras from pulling for Vendrids. I do want to focus on picking up Vendrids from the new mini box. But unfortunately, I was trying too hard to get Magician Navigation over here, so as soon as I got the Magician Navigation, I didn't try for anything else. So Trymid Master unfortunately got left in the dust. And then all of the Trymid monsters do have the second effect where once per turn during your opponent's turn, so this is not a hard once per turn, this is just a once per turn. If you have 2 Trymid Masters on the field, you will be able to do both of them. You can target 1 Trymid field spell card in your field zone, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, activate another Trymid field spell from your deck with a different name. So essentially, all of these have this quick effect. They send the field spell to the graveyard and then activate a different one. This is very good, very, very good. The problem with this is it's on your opponent's turn. Like I said, this is going to be a very defensive deck. So this is all on your opponent's turn, and you'll have to really pay attention to that. Trymid Hunter, basically while he's on the field, you can normal summon another rock type monster in addition to your normal summon. So he's how you'll be kind of swarming the field a little bit. And again, he has the same effect as Master. All of them have this one, the second one. You can send a field spell to your graveyard and then get another one. And this will activate all of their secondary effects. Finally, we have Trymid Dancer. Once per turn, she does have another effect. You can target one Trymid card in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and then all rock-type monsters you control gain a permanent 500 boost to both attack and defense. She's going to be pretty nice to help buff up your monsters. And then we talked about the cruisers, so let's talk about the last Trymid card. This is Trymid Pulse. This is an old card that we used to have, and it is obtainable from the card trader, so a very easy card to get. You can run 3 of these to replace some of these more expensive cards. If you don't have Paleo, run a 3rd copy of Pulse, or Drowning, run a 3rd copy of Pulse. This one has 3 different effects. In order to activate them, you banish 2 cards from your graveyard. And this is any combination of rock monster or field spell card. And this is kind of how the deck synergizes. And then you get 3 effects. You can target a face-up card on the field, destroy it. Very powerful for just dealing with some of the monsters. Target 1 rock-type monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense. Or target 3 field spell cards in your graveyard and shuffle them into the deck, and then draw a card. The third effect is not quite as useful. You'll be using the other 2 quite a lot. The downside is you do have to banish monsters and cards in order to activate the effect, which I think is one of the main reasons you'll want to run 3 copies of each field spell. That way you have fuel in your graveyard to cycle through more of the Trymid Pulses. We'll see if we eventually need that. So yeah, remember, the main thing with this deck is Trymid Hunter or Trymid monsters all have their quick effect on your opponent's turn only, which is very unfortunate, meaning you can't do any of these fancy things where we cycle through the field spells unless you're on your opponent's turn. And that is very important to remember. I've definitely done a few misplays while playing around with the deck on my own, where I wanted to do like a field spell play, but then I was like, oh, I'm on my turn, I can't do anything. So there's going to be a lot of end phase cycling, a lot of just ending your turn because you can't make a big play. Like I said, defensive deck. And then finally, we're kind of topping it off with some pretty standard spell and trap cards that are, pretty generic. We do have 1 copy of Drowning Mirror Force. Ended up using my one of my dream tickets on Drowning Mirror Force. A very powerful card. Allows you to kind of just swing back in your favor. I don't think Drowning is super necessary for this deck because you do have... There are some plays where you often want to have monsters on your field and stuff on your field, so it's not as necessary. Paleo is something that you should probably get more of. This is one of the most powerful spell and trap in the game. 2 copies of Treacherous because, why not? It's so good that eventually, even if you don't, draw into it or whatever, it's a really good card. You'll want this. Additionally, Trymid Pulse is a continuous spell, and Paleo can be summoned from your graveyard, so it synergizes pretty well with Treacherous. We can, even if we draw into it like later in the duel after we have some of our traps, we can kind of we can try to make it work, but for the most part, just having that option to destroy cards is pretty nice. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're running balance once again, so we'll have a guaranteed monster, spell, and trap on our opening hand. So we're going to save that. Again, you can run 3 copies of the Trymid Pulse. I would recommend doing that if you're, more on a more budget-friendly thing. I know this is budget Road to King of Games. I think the Drowning Mirror Force is pretty powerful, though. I would want to get that. And honestly, in terms of budget, I do think that some of these staple back row cards are pretty important to pick up. So use your dream tickets on some of them. Drowning can go into many decks. I'm actually going to get rid of it though because it is a pretty expensive card, and I don't necessarily think it's quite as good for this deck as I thought it was. So we're going to get rid of it for now. Drowning is just a really good card because, of course, they get shuffled into the deck. It bypasses a lot of protection. So let's go ahead and jump to a few duels here. It's a pretty complicated deck. This is one of those big brain decks. You have a lot of options, a lot of ways to play it. It is very very active deck. You're going to be playing around your opponent quite a lot. So, and like I said, it is a defensive deck. One of the few decks that do like going first as well. So we do have balance. So of course we will activate. We'll have a spell, trap, and monster. So really nice opening hand, honestly. We can get the Trymid Cruiser to the field. This will be, we're going to normal summon the Hunter, and then we're going to activate Cruiser. Cruiser also gives 500 life points when this happens, so that's not too bad. So I think with this face-up card in the field zone, since the graveyard, you can add one Trymid monster from your deck to your hand. So that is fine. I might just get rid of the second copy of Cruiser. That'll give us some kind of fuel for our spells and traps. And then we'll normal summon Dancer. Well, we can do this... Wow, each time a rock-type monster. We can keep doing this. I might say yes. I'm going to say yes. Just thin out our deck. That's another copy of Cruiser. We're going to set the Pulse. And then I'm also going to activate her effect in order to boost up my monsters. So... pretty nice. End our turn. We have a lot of things we can do now. Our opponent going to be having a rough time. He's playing Lawful Warrior. When this card destroys the opponent's monster for battle, inflict damage. You must have... That's a level 4 monster? Dang. 1800 attack. I wonder if he's going to go in. Legend of the Heart. Oh, what? What? He's gonna get one of the Timaeus guys on the field. No way. Am I about to get wrecked by this? Okay, let's see. What does this guy do? So, okay, you can target one face-up card in the field. Banish that target. We're going to chain, of course. When this card is targeted for attack, you can target one effect monster in your graveyard. We can just destroy this, right? Yeah, we can just destroy this. We're going to activate the Trymid Dancer effect. We're going to send it to the graveyard. We're not going to actually do anything else. And then we're going to activate King Golem, I think. We'll just do the King Golem. Bring it to the field. Activate Cruiser. Cruiser did get sent to the graveyard. And we will use that to search out our master. This will be... We do have a lot of Cruisers, so being able to use that helps us search our master. And is he going to go in? And thankfully we don't get our field spell banished because we chained our effect to it. So, pretty nice. If he really wanted to make something happen, he would have targeted our Pulse. But we would have also been able to do stuff. Like, this is the craziness. Like, this deck is really, really good. There's a lot of things. Once you kind of understand it, is he going to surrender? Or, like... I mean, we're going to destroy his monster. Like, Trymid Pulse is a really good card in this deck. Yeah, he just peaced out, man. Wow, he just straight up disconnected. He's like, yep, I'm not dealing with that. We were going to destroy his monster. Thankfully, he couldn't really go off on me. I wonder if he's playing a grass version of that. No, he's just playing it. Yeah, this is a pretty bad deck. The ideal way to play this deck is to run grass that looks greener, I think it's called. Whatever. It's a card, you run 30 cards, and then you mill out until you have the same number of cards in your deck as your opponent does. And that allows you to mill out all 3 copies of the these fusion cards, these legendary cards. What is it called? Legendary Dragon spell cards is what they're called. You mill them all out, and then you can banish them all with Legend of Heart, and then you can get the fusion guy out. And that's kind of what he was looking for. If he gets this guy out, I really don't have an out to it, I don't think. Because he's unaffected by other card effects. And then he just, every time he takes an attack, your opponent just straight up, like, there's really nothing I could have done there, I don't think. I could have decked him out, but really difficult monster to deal with. Because your opponent, because he just steals the attack of your monster. So really hard. Going first, I imagine this will climb us pretty fast. Oh, he's got Neospace. He's playing some Neospacians. Again, going first is pretty nice. All rock type monsters on the field gain 500 attack. I'm probably gonna summon Master here. That's kind of unfortunate. I would like to have Hunter so that I can cycle through monsters a bit more. But yeah, we got King Golem in our hand. Oh, we can actually use him to special summon our Dancer, so we're going to do that. Alright, summon the Master. Pull out the Trymid, King Golem, and then we just set the Pulse. Ooh. Oh no, it's one set card, so it'll destroy my own. That's fine. We can use Master to put the King Golem, and then we'll have Dancer. And then we'll have all of these other effects of Pulse. Let's see what he does. It's going to do some stuff. I'm going to pop off here. I do want to get these effects rolling. So we're going to activate King Golem, summon the Cruiser. They're going to activate King Golem to... Nope, don't do that. Special summon our Dancer. We're going to do it in defense mode. About to end his turn. And I think I do want to make the play to put another field spell in the graveyard. And then we'll activate this. This will allow us to get a search. And that will, I think, search us. I do want to get the Hunter. I think the Hunter, having all three would be pretty nice. There we go. We're going to end his turn. So I do think that if we send this, we can gain its effect. So we want to activate this. Send this to the graveyard. I'm going to destroy your back row. Oh, I don't get the effect? What? Oh, yeah, I get the field spell effect, but I don't get the recycle effect. Oops. Misplays. That's what I was talking about. Alright, so we're going to activate her effect. I think King Golem is more important, so we're going to put that back into the deck. This is what I was meaning. You have to remember that the effect to bring another field spell from the deck is on your opponent's turn. So you have to be real careful with how you play this deck, or you could end up losing out on some stuff. So we're just going to swing in, see what he's got. That was Hero Signal, so not too bad. It looks like he's playing a little defensive here, trying to make sure he doesn't die. So we'll see. Unfortunately, we don't have anything really going for us now because our field spell is gone. So we just kind of have to rely on our back row card. We only get one destroy, and that's not looking very hot, I don't think. Master can send other monsters, so we have to remember that. Master could have sent a monster. So that's definitely the play. We should have sent the Hunter. So he normal summoned. I think we're going to let him special summon a monster here. We'll see what he does, and then we're going to chain Trymid Pulse to whatever he summons. Oh, he's just going to scoop. Just scoop it up. Yep. A little too much for him, even through the misplay. This deck is powerful. This is a really good deck. If you have the patience to kind of let the duels drag out, this is definitely a good deck. I would recommend picking it up. It's pretty cheap as well. So I think you could do a lot of work with it. Get another match going here. Master Gate Key. Don't really care too much about that. Silver rank 6. Kaiba versus Tsunade. There's plenty of other characters that have balance, by the way. You don't have to play Mako. Mako is just one of the few that do get it from level up. 30 card deck. Peak performance. We are going second. The unfortunate thing with this deck is that going second is rough because your opponent, Cosmic Cyclone is a deck, and Cosmic Cyclone is running around quite frequently right now, so it's a very rough deck to play sometimes. Cosmic Cyclone gained a lot of popularity, and Horn of the Unicorn, what a mad lad, dude. Who plays that in modern Yugioh? Another Trymid Fortress, that's not good. So this one adds a monster in our graveyard to our hand. I think we just hard summon Master. I really don't know. Just do this. Ooh. It's kind of rough. Oh, I think, okay, so here's the play. We summon, we do that. We don't have any options. And so on our opponent's turn, we can send this one to the graveyard. Unfortunately, this will be kind of rough. Alright, so he's going to probably try to swing in. So I think I know what I want to do. We're going to do this. Send the fortress. And then we pull out the King Golem. And then now this will activate. So now my opponent can't activate any card. And we're going to activate this. Say yes. Target one face-up card on the field, destroy it. Unfortunately, this is, like I said, this is probably the reason that you would want to run more copies of the field spell. So we're going to get rid of his unicorn. Unfortunately, we can't let his unicorn happen. So very unfortunate there. King Golem coming back. What does this do? Fields over to the graveyard, special summon a Trymid monster from your hand. I think we're going to do that. We're going to play this King Golem. And we're going to special summon our Trymid Dancer. So yeah, now we don't have any copies of Trymid Fortress in our deck anymore. So I think, honestly, like, it just feels better to run 3 copies of the field spells. I might go do that. I might run more copies of the field spell. Because it's just really nice. Oh, we can, I should have put this in attack mode. We could have won this turn. We could have won this turn. Because I could have cycled another card into the graveyard. We're gonna do this. Put King Golem back. We're going to, yeah. I don't know if I want to swing in. We'll see. I think we just end our turn on this. I think we just end our turn on this. Our monsters are pretty beefy right now. So we did need to actually activate her effect so we can play off of our field spells more. Because if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have another. If we could only activate one. Ooh, what the hell are that? Target one monster on the field, destroy that monster. We'll chain this. Oh no, our fields, our fortress isn't in our deck, man. If we had the fortress, we would, man, that's rough. That's very rough. Yeah, we're going to do this. And then we're going to play the King Golem. If we had the Fortress, and a third copy of the Fortress in our deck, we could have activated that. Fortress prevents our monster from being destroyed by card effects. So that would have been very, very nice. Now we're going to add the Master. Then I'm going to activate this. Target one on the field. Banish, banish. Special summon it. Alright. End our turn. We're good. We are good. So we're going to normal summon. Activate this. Send the Trymid Pulse. We don't need it anymore. Destroy whatever that card is. Okay, I guess we do need it. Change to attack mode. Change. So what does this do? Once per turn during the end phase of this card's normal summon, you can add one level 7 monster. Okay. I think we just win. Because now we activate this. Send the Trymid Pulse back to our graveyard. And this is why Treacherous works so well in this deck, because you can, like I said, you can put stuff from your graveyard away. So this is GG. You have the lowest, so you attack in. King Golem prevents anything in his hand from activating. Nothing can work. Such a strong deck. I might put more copies of the other field spells in, though. I think that's just too strong. Because we could have won even harder. Like, even though we still were able to come out on top, we could have won even harder on that. So I think that's probably the best thing that you can do, if I'm being honest. Alright, give me all of the rewards. All of them. Because just having way more options, I think, is better. I don't know how it affects the balance, so right now we're just going to put 3 and 3. So we'll see if this actually works with balance to give us 1/1/1. Like, we don't really care about the fourth card. We just need one of each. So if this works, I think I actually clicked into it. Then we'll be fine. Hopefully it doesn't like give us. Wait, what am I doing? Back. There we go. All right, we'll do one more duel. We'll see if this give a little test duel with this new build. That way you guys can kind of see. And this is kind of how the process goes with deck building as well. For those of you who are interested in that kind of contact, like information. Like, I do have a deck building guide on my video channel right now, but this is one of the ways that you work on deck building is you just kind of play it, right? Deck building is all game knowledge. You just kind of play it, study, learn. It does look like that our field spells, like, we get more copies of the field spells in our opening hand, which I think is very, very good. So we do the cruiser, I believe. So we'll cruiser. I think this is monsters, Trymid monster. So we'll play this. Summon. We'll gain life points, and I think I want to do it. Alright, we get the master. Nice. Or the... Yeah, I think we'll do the... Send the fortress away. Normal summon our dancer. And then we'll grab our... Do I do this again? Do I want to do this again? I don't know if I do. It can help us thin out our deck a little bit more, but I don't know if this is something I want to do. I'm saying no. I'm actually gonna say no. I think it's better to do it this way. We don't really have a the Trymid Pulse, unfortunately, so we're just gonna put this back into the deck, boost up our monsters a little bit, and then end our turn. So we'll have something. Depending on what he summons, we can make some plays. Get the master to the field as well. Got one face down. I think we'll probably search for master. Yeah, we're definitely going to search for master. So activate this. Send that. I think we'll search the King Golem. Trymid Cruiser. This will search our master. Oop, don't do that. This one... Trymid monster from our hand. Is that worth it? No. I think we want the King Golem. He has 2 face downs. Ooh, Trymid Fortress. Nice. Yeah, I definitely like this. I definitely like the more copies of the field spells, because it allows you to draw into them as well. Which is, I think, really important. Because now we can use this to our advantage. I'm just going to do this. He has an activation. Conscription. What the hell does this do? Activate the top card of your opponent's deck, and if it is a monster that can be normal summoned, special summon it to your side of the field. Add it to our opponent's hand. Well, we pretty much win now. We're gonna activate, put this to the back into the deck. And then now we just use King Golem. So King Golem prevents any like, this is why King Golem is so good. None of our opponent's effects can be activated until the end of the damage step. He needs to activate whatever his back row is now, or he just pretty much loses. Yep, no activation, no activation, no activation. Feels bad, man. This deck is so good. I'm so excited that this deck is so powerful, even with the 1 copy of Master. So this just goes to show you that some of these decks are good enough to perform very well, especially on the ladder. So get some wins under our belts. Hopefully we can get enough gems by doing this so that we can pick up the Vendred deck. This deck is performing a lot more like quicker than I thought it was. I definitely expected these duels. I mean, I guess we are in only in silver. Once we get towards the end of the towards the higher ranks, we do have to grind the duels out a bit more, because our opponents will have a lot more aggressive things to play off of. So but yeah, this is Triamids. This is going to be one of the 4 decks that I do climb with very frequently, so you'll definitely expect to see more of Triamids in the future, especially if you're interested in seeing them play off against more powerful deck types. I will be using Triamids for as one of those main decks to climb with. We're still in silver, so if you want to see any last minute just interesting deck, or like fancy deck, or like old school deck maybe, that is budget friendly, please let me know. I will try my best. Once we hit gold, I did mention in the last episode that we are going to climb straight from gold. We're going to like hit the grind and start the climb. I did not mean that to rhyme, but it works. Super cringe. Let's go. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please of course leave a like, and if you want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh content, do subscribe and hit that bell notification so YouTube will let you know when my videos are live. I'm trying to keep a more frequent upload schedule, and I will also be uploading more League of Legends content in the near future. So if you enjoy League of Legends content, do be sure to of course subscribe for that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed, and I shall see you guys next time. Later.